You're listening to Grito Podcast Network, celebrating the culture of Chicanos and Latinos one story and voice at a time. Listen to more Grito Podcast Network shows over at mygrito.net. Connect on social, on Instagram and Facebook at Grito, the Grito Podcast Network.
Orale, you have Oscar here from My Grito, and thank you for joining us once again for another episode that we put together here. First of all, you got to excuse me. If you are watching this on YouTube, you're probably going to notice that not only myself, but maybe my guests, we're going to be sweating quite a bit because we are recording live from my garage here in the middle of summer or the beginning of summer. So dispensa, first of all, if it does get a little wet. Now that inappropriate comment is out of the way, I want to, again, thank you for listening to the episode. In true fashion, what I want to do is I want to tell you a little bit about what's going on with My Grito Industries as a whole. As you know, we do represent several musicians, several artists. What I encourage you to do is either go to our website at mygrito.net, or you can go on to our Instagram where you'll see a lot of the artists that we represent there. And we encourage you to give them a follow. And also add some of their music to your favorite playlist. So we do represent artists of several different genres, from soul to ska, punk, rock. So we do represent a lot of different genres. We are Latino based, as long as it's music that we feel we may represent. Not only that, but we also have a podcast network. We represent several different podcast shows on the label, which include podcasts such as Tragos Amargos podcast, Desmadre y Medio, Social Primates, Emo Brown, Chicano Shuffle, West Coast Pop Lock podcast, and of course, last but not least, Mind Buzz. As always, I do have my co-host here with me, Mr. Gil from the Mind Buzz. Gil, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Oscar? How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. What I also want to do is I want to tell you a little bit about Mind Buzz Media, as this show could not be possible without having Gil here, as he owns Mind Buzz Media. Gil, do you mind telling us a little bit about Mind Buzz Media?
Mind Buzz Media is a on-site and off-site podcast production company. We go to you if you need a podcast studio. We build it right there, right here in your garage. If you want to shoot a podcast, we have 4K cameras and all the best equipment right now in the podcast industry.
Excellent. And you would even do the podcast even if your clients are asking you to shoot it in their garage where it's probably about 92 degrees?
Yeah. Sure.
You are a saint.
I'm here.
Well, speaking of saints, what I also want to do is I want to tell you about one of the bigger projects that My Grito Industries is currently doing. Over the years since we started My Grito Industries, going on 4 years, which, as a reminder, it's a subsidiary of Wiretap Records. Wiretap Records celebrates 10 years this year. But since we started, we wanted to do charity work. That was something that was very important to both Rob and I. So we came out with a music compilation called Más Alto. Within this music compilation, we ask for a lot of talent, a lot of musicians, bands, artists, to lend us one of their songs that we can put together this incredible music compilation that can be housed in Bandcamp. That is a website where you'll find these Más Alto compilations. It's called Bandcamp, where we choose a charity. And with that charity, we have the opportunity to raise money for them by having our friends, family, fans of the artists, of course, to go onto Bandcamp and make a donation. That donation could be any amount of money that they want. $1, $5, $10, $15, lo que se puede, right? And 100% of those proceeds go to the charity that we decide on. Charities that we've worked with before in the past are Know Us Without You. That happened to be the first charity that we worked with because we started this brand during the pandemic and a lot of places were closed, and Know Us Without You gave an opportunity for a lot of the folks that work in the back houses of these restaurants and bars that were no longer making an income because everything was shut down. So what Know Us Without You, what they did is they go and they bring food and other products to these individuals so they can survive, so they can feed their families. So that was our first charity that we worked with. We worked with other charities such as the Esperanza Immigrants' Rights Project, the East Los Angeles Women's Center, which I was fortunate to be part of their advisory board for about a year, and many more charities. But for Volume 6, I'm very excited about this one because if you have been listening to some of the episodes that we've had an opportunity to do so far, I've shared, unfortunately, that I did lose a family member last year in 2023 that hit us pretty hard. That family member, her name is Suki. I know it's a little bit of an odd name, but that's because Suki is my dog. A mini pincher that I had for many years, and unfortunately she did have cancer, and we did have to put her down. And it was a very, very difficult time for my wife, my daughters, and I. And ever since, it's hard because she was a part of our family. I do have 2 other dogs that are with us. Both of them happen to be rescue dogs. So this is something that's very important to my family and I. So what Rob and I decided to do is we decided to team up with Love Leo. Love Leo is a dog rescue that's been doing a phenomenal job, not only in the Los Angeles area, but many other places. So if, as this podcast episode is out, I do encourage you to go to Bandcamp, look up the word My Grito Industries, Más Alto, and you'll be able to find Volume 6. Again, any donations that you're able to make will go to Love Leo for them to be able to do what they do. But not only that, also, listen to the compilation. We have a lot of great artists, musicians that lend us their songs, and you'll be able to listen to a really, really good playlist. So with that, let's go ahead and get into our guest for today. As if you are watching this on YouTube, then you probably saw this incredible album, vinyl, that I have here right next to me. Yes, it does belong to Adrian Carmine, and the album, his very first LP that came out in 2022, during the pandemic, is called Alma. So ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. Adrian Carmine.
Hello, hello.
Now, Adrian, thank you for being a guest today. For those of you that are not familiar with Adrian, he is not only obviously by seeing the record here, he is an artist, he's a producer, he's a songwriter. He's had an opportunity to do a lot of great performances himself, not only as a solo artist, but you also had an opportunity to work with a lot of great artists such as Trish Toledo or with Joe Bataan. Tell me, how was it for you working with individuals, other artists, musicians like them?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. You look great. I was going to ask you how your morning was, but if you want to jump right into things. Yeah. I hope you had breakfast.
Very little.
But
I'm starving, Adrian.
Oh, good. Go eat. I got it from here. I got you for at least 5 minutes. No, but I mean, it's amazing. It's like, it's really a blessing. You know, one of the first artists I started working with in this genre was Trish. And it's just been nothing but a blessing. Like, she's literally taken me places I've never been, literally and figuratively. And it's just crazy to me, you know, like, especially very early on, like, why me type of, you know, like wow, I'm really lucky. It's opened so many opportunities for me. And it's led to many projects and you know, stories to be told. One of them being, you know, getting linked up with Joe Bataan, which is another just like pinch myself moment, you know, like a legendary, the king of Latin soul, you know, like I'm here playing with Joe, and he's got a band in New York and he's got a band in LA, and whenever he comes over here, he hits me up, and it's crazy. We've done Mexico City, where he got players, really good players from over there to back him, and he invited me to come, and I sang background vocals and just, you know, it's just one or two of many things that just I've been blessed to be a part of. Like, I'm forever grateful, and it's really something.
Would you say that specifically with Joe, because he is a king of Latin soul, was he an artist that you listened to growing up and was just a fan of his music?
Very much. Another reason why it's like, wow, are you kidding me? Like, my family would listen to him, and just, yeah, that's like the soundtrack of our youth, you know,
right?
Our carne asadas, our quinceañeras, what have you, you know, and then continuing to grow up, you know, work functions, our Chicano brethren, you know, like that's what you put on. That's what we're drinking to. That's what we're eating to, and so.
Absolutely. I remember following you on Instagram. I remember every now and then when I see that you have an upcoming show with Joe, and I look forward to those Fridays and Saturdays or sometimes it's Sundays where you're posting the stories because you're not going to post them that night and it's not until the next day. Mm-hmm. But I see you performing on stage with him. I see you performing on stage with Trish Toledo. And I got to tell you, brother, I am super excited for you because not only do you have an opportunity here to perform with these incredible musicians amongst other musicians that you've had the pleasure to work with, but I believe that they chose you, and this is my opinion, I believe that they chose you to perform with them because they see your talent as a musician. Not only the way you play your instruments, but at the same time, your voice. Because there's been a handful of stories that I've seen where, again, you're on stage, as an example with Joe, and you're just ripping one vocally. Mm-hmm. And it looks like for those of us that have not had the opportunity to go see him perform and seeing you up there with him, you're giving that liberty from time to time. And I would think you're probably one of the few people on the band that get a chance to do this because you have that great voice to kind of just fucking let it rip, no?
Well, thank you. I hope they feel the same, and I'm sure that's the reason that they're giving me that little moment to kind of shine, and you know, I give it my all. You know, the higher the note, the better. So
and we're definitely going to hear a lot of high notes as we start to talk about your very first LP, which is right here next to me, Alma. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that this was a project that you've been working on for a very, very long time. And I want us to hit a little bit more on this album and all the work that came behind it, because I know you worked your ass off to make this available. Right. Tell me a little bit about the process when you first started recording some of the songs that we can find on Alma, and what made you decide to kind of come up with this.
Yes, you're very right, and that I worked my ass off in other things, but it was. It didn't feel like it because, you know, at the time, what would take us back 2 years, 3 years almost. And just, wow, what a time. It was like nuts. We were all basically barricaded in our homes, and we really had nothing to do but eat and wait. And so, yeah, we had, I guess, initially started messaging each other on Instagram and decided, you know, I remember we had a meeting. It was in Whittier, and we were like, it was just starting to, right. We were, I don't know if you remember, but things were starting to open again with mad like restrictions, but we were able to connect actually and see each other face to face.
I did. I remember that day very well. We ordered a lot of wings and a lot of beer.
Really good. Yeah. Delicious.
But I remember, the reason that meeting took place is because we did have an opportunity to listen to one of your songs with Listen to My Heart Speak. That song was just barely out, I believe, at that time. And correct me if I'm wrong, that song was released by Sola Records.
Right.
And you had a music video that already came out. Mm-hmm. And I remember listening to the song and just knowing that with what we wanted to create with My Grito Industries, at that point, we already had a couple artists that were on the label. At that point, 3LH was working with us. But Rob and I knew that we wanted to also open up the soul side. We wanted to have some soul-y representation. And when we heard this song that you already came out with, we knew that we wanted to meet with you in person, and see if this is something that maybe we can collaborate on, if there was some music that you were going to come out with. Because here's the thing, Adrian, I mean, I'm looking back, you had a couple songs that were already out, but what we wanted to do as a label, because we were a brand new label, we understood that we needed to really prove ourselves and work with artists that were also maybe in the beginning stages of a particular genre of music, because soul, and we're going to get to this, souldies was not where you started musically performing. Mm-hmm. It was other genres. But as you were opening up, getting your feet wet in this beautiful, beautiful genre of a music with soul, we knew that we wanted to meet with you and see if it's something that we can work on a project together.
And that was game 2 of the championship series with the Dodgers.
Yes, it was.
The year they won.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And I still met with you because you guys seemed like very legit, and willing to work with basically just some fresh-faced kid coming up, opening for these people, and I was like, okay, I'm down. I love the Dodgers, by the way, if you don't know. And I still made it out. But yeah, man, I remember starting the record, coming up with the first songs. That's Why People Fall in Love is the opening track, and that's actually like the first one I started writing. And the way that the record is actually like laid out is actually almost in the order that everything was written. So yeah, man, I was like really honored that you would want to work with me. And we started with the Mas Alto compilation. Volume 2, was it?
At that point, it was Volume 2, and that's when we did use Listen to My Heart Speak.
Right, yeah. So, I was pumped, and I just went at it. Like, again, we couldn't do much else, but
yeah,
I did not mind that one bit. I was actually happy that I got to do that. It actually liberated me to, not have excuses not to do it. So it worked out, I think, very much for our benefit in the end.
I would agree, because I feel like we had an opportunity to really work together, us as a young independent label, and for you as a musician, as you continue to grow as an artist in this genre, because you're already doing some real cool things with Sola, which is another label that I highly respect and I appreciate.
Mad love for Sola, yeah.
Yeah, working with those gentlemen was a big pleasure. And we were happy that we had an opportunity, at least for this album, for us to work with you with this album, because you did have something very special that we felt that we could do something with the resources that both Rob and I had, with our PR team. We really wanted to help you out with this album, because it's the first time that I heard all the tracks on it, I fell in love with it. And what I want to do, Adrian, is maybe we should start talking about some of these individual songs that were some of my favorites, and you can tell us a little bit about what the thought process was behind it. As a matter of fact, I also want to play the music in the background, if you don't mind, because I want, as people are listening to this podcast, I want them to be able to hear some of this music, because I got to tell you, you got to really listen to the song to really understand what we have here. Mm-hmm. And the first song that I'm going to start off with is, we mentioned at the beginning of this interview that you had an opportunity to work with Trish Toledo, which I've been listening to her, following her for a very long time, way before Grito Industries was ever formed. Maybe it was easier for her to grab my attention because we share the same last name. Maybe that was it. But I remember I remember seeing her perform live one time, doing Mary Wells, doing all these other songs that I grew up listening to, and the way she sang them so beautifully was just
ridiculous. Yeah,
it was such an incredible experience, especially to see somebody young that's carrying on this tradition that many of us grew up on, right?
Definitely. And
then when you told Rob and I that one of the songs on your album is with Trish Toledo, that got me pretty excited. So what I want to do is I want to play the song in the background.
Yeah.
And you can tell us a little bit about it. So with You Can't Tell the Heart, featuring Trish Toledo, such a beautiful song that talks about love loss. But I want you to tell me a little bit more about this song again, as I'm playing it here in the background, tell me about the thought process behind writing this song and why you wanted to use Trish.
Right. Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I mean, it came down to asking her if she was down to do it. So I remember I was like a little bit not scared to ask, but kind of like hesitant, because I didn't know. Like, again, going back to like why me, I was like, and so I mean, I mustered up the courage, because we've been jamming. She invited me over to, I remember like one of our first jams, and like we really instantly clicked. So there was no like, I guess it's just that little like voice, that little like ego voice that's like trying to protect you and like, don't get your heart broken, but like, so I mustered up the courage and I asked. Like, the first task was to muster up like the best pitch text that I can to be like, I'm just gonna go out and say this, kind of like, but would you like do a duet with me on my record?
And at that point, did you already have an established relationship with her?
Yeah, what was this? So like, yeah, I'd say like we had a good 2 years kind of doing things as much as we could with the lockdown, but I think at that point, that first show we did was the drive-in concert in I forget where in the Corona area. Or, I'm bad. I'm terrible with that. But yeah, so I ask, she says yes, and I'm like, oh my God, she said yes. Now, the second thing to do is come up with the greatest thing I could possibly like muster up, like in my
as a writer,
as a songwriter, and just kind of give her the best platform, or the best sound that she could ever give her all to. Something like, she's never done, in my eyes, like the best thing I could give her. And honestly, it's one of my most favorite songs I've ever written. So she says yes. I come up with the song, I come up with the lyrics, and I present it to her in demo form. And yeah, she loved it. She really liked it. And I remember it was time to record the vocal, and it was a rainy like morning. So like, I don't know if it was the weather or what, the gloom, it just had us kind of in our feels. And we tracked the vocal. She probably did like 2 takes and nailed it, of course, in true Trish fashion. And I was like, wow. And I think, yeah, like I had to throw horns on there. They had to have strings. They had to have everything. It had to be a production. And it's probably like the most tracks on the record that I was able to fit into, recording a lot of it onto tape. So like, yeah, I felt like a kid in the candy store. I was like, I did a duet with Trish Toledo.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And, yeah, so.
And I remember shortly after you joined the label and you came out with the album, because we were still in the pandemic. One of the things that My Grito Industries wanted to do was to put some form of music out there, since we couldn't do a lot of live performances. Our artists couldn't do a lot of live performances unless they're doing something like you mentioned in Riverside or in Corona with the drive-in.
Right. Norco.
Norco.
Sorry, Norco. Yeah. It was Norco.
So when you did that, great way for you to get some for the folks in Norco and surrounding cities to go down there and listen to some great live music.
Yeah.
But what we decided to do as My Grito Industries is we did some live streams. And you were one of the first live streams that we did as a label, where we had you come in with an incredible group of musicians. I think you probably had like 12 people in this studio that we were using at the time.
It was big. Yeah.
It was pretty big. Yeah. And then when Trish Toledo showed up, even I was fanboying it out, because I'm like, wow, that's I refer to her as my prima. I don't think she would acknowledge it too. But I said it during the live stream. Hey, somos primas, or tell us a little bit about your John. Like, where's your family from? Just wanted to make sure, are we related or not? But I remember when you performed that song during the live stream, the song really hit. And I think because for myself, including a lot of people that are out there, just have a huge, their go-to type of music. Sometimes it is about love loss, and you decided to write this incredible duet with Trish that talks about that. And each of them are talking about their experience, about how they got hurt and You did such a great job with it, and so did Trish.
Yes.
So-
Storytelling
Yeah,
at its grandest. But I'll never forget either the record release show when she came up and did it with me at the Goldfish.
yeah,
And wow, like it's cherry on top.
absolutely.
Yeah, I was there that night. It was
Yeah, I remember.
it was a
Gil was
great
there.
show. It was awesome, dude.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It's a great show
Yeah.
with those yesterdays. And
Yeah.
Maria Sanchez was there.
We had Maria
The
Sanchez, Bad
McCharmleys, the
Hombres, the
McCharmleys,
McCharmleys.
yeah.
Bad Hombres.
It was such a fire lineup, dude.
great,
It
great,
was
great. Like
It was a great
I'm
night.
so glad that
Yeah.
happened.
Yes.
Yeah. So great experience. I want to talk about another song that I've been contemplating with the song, and later on at the end of the interview, I'm going to ask you this question as I do all my guests. You know, I talk about this death playlist.
Yes, I am. I'm aware of it. I know that. We've talked about it in private.
Yeah,
many
we
times.
have.
Many carne asadas.
We have. But there's this song that I'm contemplating adding to it, and I'll tell you why, because I feel like it should fit on there, and I want to have an Adrian Carmine song on this playlist because not only am I a fan of your music, but also the opportunity that I had in my life, and I was fortunate enough to work with a lot of great artists and musicians. For me to work with you, Adrian, that means a lot to me.
Thank you.
And I'm thinking, does this track need to be on there? I just don't want people to really start llorando too much during my funeral because of what this song is. Now, for you, it may have a different meaning, but I want to talk about I Miss You. This song, which I'm going to be playing here in the background, is another banger. But it's one of these songs that really can get somebody very emotional listening to the lyrics. Either a broken heart because of a breakup in a relationship or because of losing somebody. I took it as losing somebody, and I could be wrong. But I wanted to ask, now that I have the actual songwriter here, the musician, the artist behind this song, tell us about I Miss You and why this song and what it means to you.
Right. Can I grab this pillow and like it's my turn to talk now? Talk about it.
Yes.
Get deep with it and kind of
Let's do a little therapy right now.
With the, well, no, I mean, I have contracted that blasted virus at the time. Before it was mid writing the record, and I got the virus, and man, it fucked me up. Like I thought I was gonna die, honestly, but I went through it, and I think I had 4 miserable days with no sleep and just I'm yeah, but I mean I got through it. Like I was taken care of. Luckily, I had someone to, look after me and just like pray for me and make it through. And the light at the end of the tunnel was there. But I mean, once again, it redimmed, so to speak, because now my parents had contracted it. And, they were being careful. Like we were all, well, I can't say we, but because I was out, trying to do music, like, I'm like, if this virus wants to stop me from doing this music, that's gonna have to kill me, type thing, But again, it got my parents, and that's what hurt, because I'm out here kind of selfishly trying to go after whatever it is that I'm going after, and then
Your dreams.
yeah, and you just being like gung ho, like you kind of like Rocky IV, like if he's gonna stop me, he's gonna have to kill me, if he's gonna beat me. But yeah, I'm like it just kind of turned into like, what the fuck would you do if like your parents died? And I guess that's where the inspiration for the lyrics came in, like what would I do, like what would I think, like where are you, like some of the, I wonder if you can still see me. It's kind of like, what if they died? And just kind of, in a sense, like in a sense of storytelling, saying like, I miss you. Like, I'm really like, I regret what I did. And, like, I hope like how it's saying, I hope you know how much you mean to me. And it was just like a scenario, you know, kind of like a storytelling of missing somebody, and I'm trying not to, you know, get choked up about it, but
Well, first of all, thank you
not
for
to stumble over my words, but it's just basically like almost like I'm sorry and I miss you, and I wonder if you can still see me, like, so that you can hear me saying that I'm really sorry for this.
I want to thank you, Adrian, for sharing that, because it is very intimate, very personal for you to be sharing what you just shared with us. Because to me, it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, with I Miss You was pretty much, it's almost like a love letter to your parents, should they have passed away, apologizing for, at least in the way you described it, if you were the cause, because of this fucking horrible pandemic that was out there that was new to all of us. You're out there trying to follow your dream as a musician and doing what you need to do in order to get your voice out there, but you're also putting your family's life at risk. And the moment they did contract this virus, you were thinking that, is this it for them? Because when you had it before they did, you felt horrible and you felt like you were going to die because of it, right? Because there was a lot of fear out there. There's no question about it. So it's, I Miss You. It's kind of that letter to, it's that apology letter to your parents of how much you love them and miss them, but at the same time, you're sorry.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, you've pretty much nailed it. Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. So,
but that's deep, man.
Yeah, you know, I mean, and I remember Rob had just lost his mom, right?
Yeah.
At that time, I remember you telling me like that song was kind of like helping you go through the thing, and that's the thing about it, you know, like I've had this song and then my other song, Please Don't Go, like it's been such a staple for people that have lost. I'm just gonna say lost, whether it be, you know, a relationship, a family member,
yeah,
anything. And it's really like, again, like, wow, like I did that for somebody, you know, and like I'm helping them cope. I'm kind of, you know, healing them. Their words, not mine, but you know, I don't want to sound like I'm the son of God
no,
or the healer.
It's
but
not.
Yeah,
they're
they're like that. That's almost one of the like biggest reasons why to do it. You know,
it is. The power of music, I got to tell you, it's so powerful, so strong on how music is able to help a lot of us cope with different things. It's not only about celebrating the good times and out there having fun and listening to a jam that really just, you know, puts you in a good mood, or I'm about to clean the house. Let me go ahead and put some Juan Gabriel so I can go ahead and clean the house type of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's also there to help you cope with heartache, with pain.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, that song definitely made an impact on both Rob and I, especially with Rob, because you're right. It was during that time where Rob did lose his mom. And I want to, in this platform of a podcast, I want to thank you again, because I was not expecting you to be there. I honestly wasn't. This was the beginning of my Grito, and it's not like and Rob was pretty much keeping this very private as possible, because that's his mom. Mm-hmm. And he was having a very difficult time. And when I saw you there, Adrian, I got to tell you, the amount of respect that I had for you, that you took time out of your day to come down while this pandemic is still there to help honor the memory of his mom. That meant a lot to both him and I. It definitely meant a lot to me. I can't imagine how Rob felt about it. Mm-hmm. So I want to thank you for doing that.
Of course, you know,
it was not expected, but you went above and beyond for us for doing that on a personal level.
Right. Just another thing, like imagine you mentioned Juan Gabriel. Like another thing about the song was kind of imagining like listening to Amor Eterno once your mom's gone, or your dad, listening to like Vicente Fernandez music. Like, I think it's time to take a drink really quick. And I see you.
Yeah, why don't we do this? So we have our sponsor. We have our sponsor named Firme Mezcal. For those of you that are watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see the bottle here. We have their Espadin, which is an incredible mezcal. It's a blanco. This is a great mezcal that it's really not that expensive. You can pick it up at several different stores, but you can also go to firmemezcal.com to order a bottle. And what I want to do, Adrian, because we are talking about our parents, we are talking about loss, and both your parents are still here, yes?
Thank you, God.
So are mine. But for the last couple of years, my mom, she's been struggling with cancer, so it's a tough one for me. We're still going through the storm with this.
Yeah.
So we're not out yet, but I've had a lot of meaningful conversations with her. I've been asking her questions about her legacy, about what she wants, music she likes. We've been taking pictures. We've been doing all these things, Adrian, because I've not attempted to write a song like you did. God knows that I can't sing. You can ask my family. You can ask people at the karaoke bars. I cannot sing.
Until you drink.
Until I drink. Then in my head, it sounds like I could sing, but I really can't. But what I'm trying to do with her is I'm trying to have these moments with her while she's here. And I pray to God that it's going to be for many, many, many more years.
Yes.
But I'm trying to take advantage of this opportunity because unlike Rob in my example, it's not like he can pick up the phone and talk to his mom and actually hear her voice and interact with her. Mm-hmm. He could still talk to her if he wanted to, but it's not going to be the same. I still have that luxury. You still have that luxury to do that. Mm-hmm. And I hope that a lot of us are able to take advantage of these opportunities, even as, and it's not available to everybody because sometimes not all of us have great relationships with our parents, let alone family and siblings. It's hard.
Right.
It's hard to always stay at a good spot, and maybe there's been a lot of damage and harm. Mm-hmm. But if you do have a good relationship with your parents, pick up the phone and call. Let me give you a little bit of mezcal here, Adrian. Aquí la manita. We'll do a little bit of toast. This one we're going to do to our parents that are still with us, and we're very fortunate to have them. A little bit of a mezcal sip. So what we're going to do, since this is mezcal and it's not tequila, we're going to go ahead and start off with a little bit of what we call the besito, which is just you're welcoming the taste of the mezcal into your palate by just taking a little sip to take in the taste of the mezcal. So why don't we go ahead and do that?
All right.
Hasta la cruz.
Cheers.
What did you think?
That's nice.
It's very nice.
That's very nice.
And after that, you can go ahead and go a little bit more ham. Just don't take the whole thing. Just little sips throughout the...
I don't drink like that, Oscar. You know that firsthand.
We've had plenty of good times, my friend. Whether it's at shows or here at my pad, in the garage, doing some barbecue, smoking some ribs that took forever to fucking get ready.
It was worth it.
But it was definitely worth it.
I ate too many of them.
Yeah.
And cheers to the cancer survivors, brother. My mom, Mama Carmine's a 3-time cancer survivor too.
Hey, to her.
So, you and I both know it's a fight.
It's a fight, brother. And it's one that I talk to her almost every day.
That's good. Me too.
All right. So let's
Love
talk
you,
about
Mom.
Te quiero. Let's talk about another song on the album, Alma, which I think you really did a flex here for me. First of all, vocally on all the songs, you took it to a different level. And I think for any of us that have an appreciation for soldies, can listen to your album and just fall in love with a lot of the way you sing these songs. There's one song in particular that I really feel you did a flex. The song that I'm going to talk about is Can't Love You. Brother, your tones, your pitch throughout that whole song, because you took it in different tones throughout the song. So you were flexing the range.
Thank you, brother.
So let me play this in the background while you tell us a little bit about this rola and how this song came to be.
That's very much a roll off for sure. It's a vibe.
It is.
I think it's the one, not oddball. It's the very unique song on the record. it wasn't necessarily like a classic sexy soul type bit, but it was more, more of a lot of people tell me it reminds them of Sade, which love me some Sade.
Hey, it was it was my wedding song.
Of course,
and it was also my daughter's.
Of course, it was
my daughter's wedding song, which happened this year.
What song?
Wait.
Let me see. What song would it be?
Come on.
Your Love Is King.
No, Yamero. A little bit more.
No. The Sweetest Taboo.
Nope.
That's a little bit more on the sexy side, huh, Gil?
So I know
that might be a different scenario.
So we did not. We're gonna go back to this.
Just tell me. Yeah.
So we did. So the last song in my wedding was "By Your Side" by Sade.
Oh, okay.
And for my oldest daughter, who got married to Alex, her name is Selena. His name's Alex, and they gave me the honor of actually marrying them to ordain.
Congratulations.
Gracias. But their song, the song that she came out to, was "By Your Side," but not by Sade. It was actually done by Legend. He covered the song, and he did such a fucking amazing job with it. It's like when you respectfully do a cover song, and I know in this genre of music with soul, when we go back to soul, there's a lot of people that cover a lot of soul music because it means so much to us, and we want to do it justice. I think with John Legend, he did a great song in covering this song by Sade, "By Your Side."
Interesting. I'm gonna check that out.
It's a good song, really good song, but it does give me these Sade vibes when we're talking about your song.
Right. Can't Love You. Yeah, that was again, like I was messing with this like D chord I really loved. I don't know. Can I show you really quick?
Do it.
Here's the first. If I remember, it was a. That's the chord I was listening to. That chord that's right before the chorus. Wow. And that's kind of like what I built the music around. Just nobody's played this chord in this in this scene. I'm sure, whatever. But yeah, I mean, and then it just kind of, it's one of those songs where you can't even like remember writing the rest of it. It just kind of wrote itself.
Yeah.
But the lyrics I remember very, very, very well. It was I was writing in a style of I want to say like a bolero.
Okay.
A story of longing for a love you can't have. And it was very like Vicente Fernandez. What song was it? I forget the song. I'm terrible at that, but I'll remember way later and be like, God damn. But yeah, the song's basically about a forbidden love. This person has someone, but you're still kind of involved with them, and we have to keep it a secret for the person you live with, type thing. It's very novela, if you will.
Damn, puro escándalo right here.
Like despite everything we've been through, I know we're not going to end up together, but despite all that, meeting you was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. It's like, ugh. Just forbidden, like it was a very, very Mexican songwriting style that just happened to be in English. That's the way I've always. That's kind of what was my MO writing that song.
That's beautiful because I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah.
And love is such a trippy thing because when you listen to not only your album with Alma, but a lot of the other songs that you came out with before the album and even after the album, there's such an emphasis on love. Because love is probably one of the most, besides faith, love is one of the most powerful things that are out there. What's your relationship to love? Because if I listen to a lot of music, we're talking roller coaster. We're talking good times. We're talking bad times. We're talking about escándalo times with this song.
Love is my vessel, brother.
Yeah.
Love has carried me. It has buried me. And everything in between. Good times, bad times, heartbreak.
Fuck, I think you just wrote a song right there, brother.
Right? I write songs. Sometimes.
But tell me a little bit more about that, because I remember you and I got in a sick one. When didn't we? And I don't know if I'm the one that initially gave this to you, or maybe you already had this nickname. But I was on a sick one with you, and I called you El Romántico.
Yeah, it might have been you.
Because I think it's stuck, because now when we talk about Adrian Carmine, we hear, El Romántico?
Right. Definitely a romantic, a hopeless romantic, helpless romantic. Love is feeling, love is emotion. And it's two of the biggest things that drive us, I feel. Like, without that, you have no purpose.
You don't.
You know?
And when you listen to this album, again, we were talking about from the duet that you did with Trish, which You Can't Tell the Heart. We're talking about love loss, heartbreak. We're talking about miss you. I miss you with the loss of somebody. And then, of course, we have I Can't Love You with the forbidden love, if you will. Tell us about a song in your catalog that's about happy love. Do we have that type of song out there? Or are you still on the phase in your musical career?
Can you turn the record around so I can remember?
Because I hear a lot of these songs.
Man, the opening track, that's why people fall in love.
There you go.
Again, it kind of comes full circle.
Yeah.
My vessel is love, and my love is for music, and music is why people fall in love. Eh?
Mira nomás. Ahí está.
Extreme close-up. The hazel-eyed soul, baby. The Duke of Love, Mr. 6'8".
But you weren't always El Romántico, because, correct me if I'm wrong, your introduction to music as an artist, as a performer, it all started at the age of 13 as a teenager. When you first picked up the guitar to learn how to play the guitar. But it wasn't soul music.
I was a rocker fool.
Tell me a little bit more about that. We need to know.
Crazy rocker fool. When it came time to start performing, I mean, you know, when we were kids, I used to throw Thanksgiving concerts for my family, and I swore I was Michael Jackson. And, you know, sometimes I still feel like I am. The aviators, the white socks, the loafers. But, you know, you grow up, I started getting into the Beatles, of course. The harder rock bands like Black Sabbath and Kiss, especially Kiss. I think our Thanksgiving shows started turning into like Kiss concerts. We would all get decked out in makeup and just go crazy and be ridiculous. But I started playing rock music. One of my earliest bands was The Doors as a kid, you know.
Which happens to be my favorite band of all time.
There you go. Just guitar like took over. Because I was a singer. I would sing with my dad since I was like 2 years old.
Yeah.
I would mimic his words because I had no idea what the hell he was saying, but I would mimic the tone and the grito. Ah. But yeah, man. I started playing. I got into Metallica. Started learning guitar riffs, the bar chord, and I'm really glad that was kind of the first music. It's like starting with classical music in a sense because, except for the instrument, it's very similar. You know, a lot of notes, a lot of crazy changes. And yeah, I started playing backyard shows when I was like 14 or 15, and just going crazy, being nuts. You know, just living it up. Music did that for me, and yeah, I was a
rockero.
Un rockero, rock and rollero.
Yeah, good.
All my family knew me like, oh, there's Adrian is el rockero. Play us some songs, which always kind of felt like weird because they were the people that got me into like mariachi and what do they call them now? Recuerdos.
Mm-hmm.
Recuerdos. So it was like, what can I play that you'll be into? I kind of just, it was very like, it wasn't like today where it's like all blended into one thing. It was very much, I disassociated my Spanish, my Mexican roots and the American like heavy metal, you know, British heavy metal side. But so I would play, you know, I'd play whatever I could. But then at the same time, it kept me playing. I started learning bolero, you know, like requinto, and I was able to play with my dad at parties forever. But yeah, man, the metal scene was the crazy one. Eventually got into like the Inland Empire hardcore scene, and we would play backyard shows over there. And that's finally when we started getting invited to pay to play at the Whiskey and the Roxy, which, yeah, man, I hate pay to play. But
Yeah.
yeah, everything was a learning experience, and it was a memorable one because you had a great time. Whatever the business side of it, you kind of ignored as a teenager. You were kind of like reckless and like this reckless abandon that made you a rocker fool, and then.
But it almost seems like at age 13, I mean, we're all we're in our 30s and our 40s. We're still trying to figure out sometimes our identity, and by now we should have figured it out. But at that age, that 13, you are trying to figure out more about you and the music that you like. And for a lot of us, metal was it. We did like metal, classic rock. Like I said, Towards was one of my favorite bands, which made me a little weird to a lot of my friends growing up in Santa Ana, with a combination of metal and punk music and rock, classic rock.
Right.
But
I have every single Kiss record. That's a fun fact for you.
There you go. So my good friend Gil here.
Yeah.
What's your favorite one?
Love Gun.
Oh, dude, that's
You're a Kiss
one of
fan?
mine. Yeah.
Is Gil a Kiss fan?
Yeah.
Shh.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, Love Gun is my favorite album. I think Rock and Roll Over is my second favorite.
Yeah.
And then I even fucked with the 80s Kiss, like, and I can tell you like what year each record came on. You want to play trivia now?
Hey, we can.
I queued up the Beatles one. Do you want to do the Beatles
Let's
one?
go.
Or Kiss?
Let's fuck with it.
Beatles?
Let's fuck with the Beatles.
Okay. I have it open right here.
Oh shit! If I bomb this, I'll never hear the end of it.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So, are you playing too, Oscar?
Oh no, this is all
let's
Adrian.
play it together.
All
Okay.
right, let's go for it.
All right.
We're not gonna leave you out.
First one will go to
So you can
Adrian.
answer first.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Which sad song by the Beatles has the lyrics, "Why she had to go, I don't know, she
Yesterday.
wouldn't say"?
Yesterday.
Yesterday's
All
it.
my troubles seem so
Okay.
far away.
All right, next one, Adrian. What album was Within You, Without You part of?
Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
I don't think he's gonna.
No, he's
let
gonna
you-
kick my ass on this one. Is there like a Doors trivia?
Okay, so
I'll play that too.
which Beatles song had the song lyrics, "It's been a hard day's night"? Oh, these are easy.
What the?
Come on.
You just answered for
yeah,
me.
and I've been working like a dog. Oh,
I
come
would
on.
say a hard day's work.
Yeah, you're doing some basic stuff right now.
Yeah. Okay. So
That's a Ringoism.
How about this? Where was John Lennon's "Live in New York City" recorded?
Live? That's a good one. It gets
'Cause that was on a
It gets kind of
rooftop.
tough when they go solo. I'm not that good. His live? No, that was the Beatles' last performance together. It
Okay.
was on the rooftop. Was it in New York?
It was Madison Square Garden.
Which is in New York.
All right, Oscar.
Oscar, your turn.
What Beatles song is about Mia Farrow's sister Prudence?
I feel horrible because I don't know this one, and I know Adrian's just like
It's
itching.
half of the name of the song is in the.
You can call
question.
me for a lifeline.
Yeah, I'm going to use a lifeline. Adrian?
Okay.
I'm going to say Dear Prudence.
Yep. That's
Final
it.
answer.
Ding 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 ding.
Damn.
You just won $1 million.
Let's see if you can get this one. This one's interesting. Who was the session drummer who filled in for Ringo Starr in Love Me Do? That one's a good one, dude.
Oh, I forgot his name. But Ringo was all butthurt about it.
Was
He's
he
all,
really?
I could have done that.
I didn't even know that.
But George
Love-
Martin didn't want to chance it. He didn't know him.
Whoa, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
wild.
He didn't know him well enough to trust that he could do their first recording ever.
The drummer's name was Andy White.
Andy White. Sorry, Andy.
What I do remember is that the original drummer was Pete Best
Yes.
for the Beatles,
Widely known.
widely known. I needed to show a little
Could
flex
you
here. I'm
imagine
dying here.
being Pete Best?
Oh my god, dude.
Hey, but from what I understand, he family man, very happy.
Oh,
and
yeah?
Good.
Yeah.
He's dying inside. I bet. I would.
and not as much as
I
the
would.
fool from Megadeth.
I would be like, I would have
But it's
grown
the
my mop
Beatles.
top out. Because that's, he didn't want to.
So I read this great book. We talked about it on your podcast. So with Dave Mustaine, originally with
Another sad
Metallica.
one. Yeah.
So we know the stories there, and even though with Megadeth he became a very popular band, but they were still not Metallica. His perception was he lost a huge opportunity, whereas with Pete Best, even though he's no longer in what's considered, I would say, the most influential band, if you will, not artist but band, for a lot of people, a lot of talent all over the world, the Beatles. When Pete Best was interviewed, and he still fucked with music, but he was a family man, multiple children, grandchildren, everything. He said he was very happy.
Yeah, that's really good for him.
So I guess the perception of life.
It's really up to you.
Yeah.
And Mustaine, I mean, the difference between him was he drank too much.
That's true. Salud.
All right, you ready for some Doors trivia?
Oh, shit.
All right. The spoken word section in The End borrows from which Greek play? Oh, wait. Oh, this is a... okay, hold on. The Lystrata, Antigone, Medea, or Oedipus? This is weird.
Oh, easy, brother. You got this.
You would think you'd read the full question and answer before you ask us that.
Right. Hold on. All right. This one's a better one.
Next question.
At which LA club were the Doors
Whiskey
playing
A Go-Go?
when they were discovered? The Viper Room, Lizard Lounge, Whiskey A Go-Go, London Fog.
Well, by their producer was the Whiskey A Go-Go's where they were performing.
You got it. Yep.
With his back turned to the crowd.
All right.
And got kicked out because he was playing The End. And the owner of Whiskey A Go-Go did not take a liking to the lyrics about him wanting to fuck his mom.
Really?
Which is part of the lyrics.
Back then?
Yeah, you don't want
Interesting.
to do that.
No, you don't want to do that.
All right. The Doors' Jim Morrison died in Paris at what age?
27.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, that's all of
I
us.
had to.
What is the drummer's name for the Doors?
So, John Densmore, you
Yep.
got Robbie Krieger,
Yep.
you got Ray Manzarek.
Yep. That one's easy.
My buddy just played with Ray Manzarek recently.
Oh, he's dead.
I mean,
You
not
mean
Ray
Robbie
Manzarek,
Krieger.
Robbie Krieger. My bad. Stop drinking, kids.
Who played bass on the Doors song Roadhouse Blues? Dallas Reeves, Robbie Krieger,
No.
Lonnie Mack, Ray Manzarek,
Or Adrian Carmine.
or Adrian Carmine.
Well, the Doors traditionally never had a bass or didn't have a bass player because Ray Manzarek, via the organ and the keys,
His left
would
hand.
he would get the bass out of it. But if they actually had a traditional bass player, I'm not aware of it. I know it wouldn't be Robbie Krieger because he's guitar.
It's Lonnie Mack.
There you go.
Mucho gusto.
Yeah. Okay. One last one. Maybe you know this. I knew this before I read it. The Doors took their name from the title of what Aldous Huxley book?
The Doors of Perception.
Yep. Yep. That's it. Cool.
Yeah, so
That was
little geek out moment.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
yeah.
I think the rest of the podcast should go into.
That was fun. We should do a lot more of that.
So, thank you, Gil.
yeah.
Let's
Yes, thank you.
let's stay on the topic of trivia, and I'm going to ask you. This has to do with Spotify, Adrian.
Okay.
What is your number one most downloaded song on Spotify?
Listen to my heart speak.
Do you happen to have
Am
an
I right?
idea
Are
what
you
the numbers
looking?
are?
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
What do you have any idea where your numbers are at?
No idea.
So you're just under 48,000 downloads on Listen to My Heart. What? Gracias a
Thank
todos.
you so much.
Great song. And then, of course, your number 2 song is Please Don't Go, another banger.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Tell us about Please Don't Go.
Yeah, I mean, another sad. It's just another sad love song.
Little Tony Braxton while we're at it.
Just another sad love song. I mean, I'm a very emotional man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's just literally what it says in the lyrics. It's what it's about. You tell me you're leaving. I know you must have your reasons. But just please don't. Stay with me.
So with that song, you have a little bit of...
Just a sentiment like for the masses, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't feel that?
We all do, man.
In any sense, you know.
In any sense, I mean, it could be taken back to the origins, and it all depends on the relationship that you have with your family. But any self-abandonment of not being wanted, a lot of us, not everybody, but a lot of us, I think, in some capacity, struggle with that. No.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you got a great song there with just over 36,000 downloads. And of course, then you have You Can't Tell the Heart with Trish at 32,000. Great fucking job on Spotify, man.
Thank
you got
you so
some great
much.
numbers there.
I am truly grateful. Like, wow. This was news to me. Yeah. Thank you.
No, absolutely. With music, tell us a little bit about, besides like Joe Bataan, obviously work with Trish Toledo. Can you tell us a little bit more of who are some of your influences musically? Because we just finished talking a little bit about heavy metal, classic rock, and I see you there with your homage to Incubus tattoo on your arm. So I know you have a love for that band.
Oh yeah.
But what are some of your influences musically?
Musically, Paul McCartney, John Lennon, songwriters, you know,
Yeah.
bro. And then Goffin and King, the early writers of, you know, countless hits. The writers at Motown, Holland Dozier Holland. I guess, yeah, just true songwriters. And then music as a skill. Obviously Metallica. Like, wow. Led Zeppelin was another one. Like, they could go from, you know, blues to straight folk to Lord of the Rings music, you know? Like, they just did it all.
They did.
And it was all well received. There wasn't anybody saying like, nah, man, I don't like this song. Keep playing rock, you know? It's just like...
Which, fun
like
fact, Gil let us know on the interview that we did with the Rundown Creeps that Led Zeppelin happens to be his number one death playlist song. Or the song from Led Zeppelin.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot which one.
No stairway. Denied.
Yeah, you can't be playing that.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and what else? There's so much. I hate that question because when you're asked it, it's like the absolute number one way to forget all music. You know what I'm saying? You forget what, like, and you just think about it afterwards, and you're like, I should have it tattooed on me somewhere and just look at it when I'm asked that. But yeah, I mean, it's really good music. I love Motown music, the orchestration, the strings, and, you know, just the production, having created such a sound from so little.
Yeah.
Like, wow. From a garage? Are you kidding me? Like, wow. And that's a lot of this record too. It came up with, I did a bunch of it in Trisha's studio, her garage studio that she used to have. So, I mean, like, it just goes to show if you can get a good sound, you can get it you can get a good sound out of anywhere. Doesn't matter. You don't have to have the fanciest state of the art studio, and you just got to have a good song.
Yeah. Absolutely agree with that.
So,
thank you for sharing that. As a reminder to a lot of the listeners, because here we are we just finished talking about some of the influences musically that you have, Adrian, but we also talked about some of the songs that you have on this album with Alma. I want to remind a lot of our listeners and people that are watching this on YouTube that this album, it's available. It's available out there a couple different ways. It's available. You can go to mygrito.net. You can order this album, this vinyl, directly from our website. You can also go to, there's several record stores that are all over Los Angeles and Orange County that may have that record. If they don't have the record, you should be asking the record store owner, why don't you carry Adrian Carmine? Hit them up. But also, probably one of the best ways that you can get this album is by going to an Adrian Carmine show. You can go to one of his shows, and he has copies there that are available for sale that you can pick up. And dare I say, it depends if you have him on a sick one. He can sign it for you. He can personalize it for you. So you may have an opportunity there.
all you got to do is buy it.
All you got to do is buy
You'll
it.
make my day.
Y ahí está.
You'll keep this going.
And that's the thing. I mean, with local artists, musicians, a lot of us are looking for, a lot of us, I'm saying it like a pendejo. I don't sing, but I'm out here trying to put together a platform. Yeah, but
anyone could sing.
But this means a lot. Any type of support that we get, that you guys get, whether it is buying a record, whether it is buying merch, whether it is going to the shows to see the artist perform live, or one of the easiest things is just by listening to the music on Spotify or whatever favorite music platform that you have out there. You can listen to the music, and if a song really, really gets you, just add it to one of your playlists. And believe it or not, it does support the artist. 0.0001 penny for every download on Spotify, but it still supports.
Yeah,
so that's just another way.
Yeah, I don't take that for granted either.
No. Well, Adrian, I really appreciate you taking the time not only to be here today in this very hot ass garage to do this recording, but also for allowing Rob and I the opportunity to really represent you with this first LP that you came out with Alma, which is such a beautifully done project, a beautiful album with all this great music of heartbreak, of love letters, of possibly losing somebody, of joy with the first song. You created a great masterpiece that I think a lot of people should hopefully take the time to either download it on Spotify or go pick up the album if they are a record collector and listen to it. This is a song that not only they can appreciate, but I bet you a lot of their parents or people in their family can also fall in love with. Music has no age barrier. Anybody can fall in love with this music because that's the thing. One of the things besides faith, that's the strongest thing out there, and it's music. It's love. It's love, and that's what you sing about.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely. So, Adrian, what I want to do, as I do on every podcast, is I want to ask you 3 questions so we can get to know you a little bit more on a personal level. I'm going to start off with my first question, where I'm going to ask you to pick one of 3 things. You're going to go ahead and talk about either your favorite movie, your favorite book, or an app on your phone that you would like to share with us. Which one do you want to pick?
I'm going to choose a movie.
Which movie?
Forrest Gump.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Forrest Gump.
Why Forrest Gump?
Just talk about a guy who, even without knowing it, he just made such an incredible story for himself just by going with it. That's basically my war cry. No matter, things could be scary if you allow them to be, but you just gotta say fuck fear and just go for it. And that's what he did a lot, and that's what I really looked up to. Even though he wasn't the sharpest, tool in the shed, but he was. His attitude was almost like, all right, have a nice day. But yeah, he just went for it, and that's kind of like what I've always related to the character, because any opportunity, I've been given, I just say yes to it, because what's the alternative? Don't do it. No, stay home. So that's one of the reasons. And the fucking soundtrack, bro. The soundtrack that made the movie.
You have from the Doors to Jimi Hendrix to what was it? The
Skinner.
Yeah, it just went through all my favorite decades too. That's another thing.
Yeah.
And
Elvis. Elvis was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I got to tell you, movie-wise, if I'm talking about movies that emotionally got me, that has to be, I don't know if it's top 10 or top 5, but at the end when he's talking to Jenny after she has passed away, and very difficult, especially when he starts talking about his son.
He's so smart.
And this is not a spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen. This movie was back in the 90s, so if you haven't seen it yet.
1994. Bro, I was at Bubba Gump's, and they did the trivia while we were waiting for our food.
Tell me you killed it.
I nailed it.
Hell yeah.
I answered every question. Except for how many days he went on a run. That was a crazy number.
What was it?
I forgot again. It was
it was over a year, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's right. It's written right there too. They showed us after, the answer is right here if you just looked around.
He just felt like running.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways. Yeah, definitely.
No, great,
Forrest Gump.
great movie. I love that movie. So, Adrian, let me ask you the second question, and we alluded to this earlier in the interview where we talked about death playlists, and obviously how the song "I Miss You." That's one of those songs, if anything, that just really got to me. That would, dare I say, be on my own personal death playlist. But for you, and God willing, hopefully it's a long time from now, because you still have so much more to give, not only musically, but also as an individual, because I know you to be a great person, a kind person. You really are. That goes above and beyond and really puts a lot of people first before yourself. And I appreciate that on a personal level. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about your death playlist. If you had that one song or two that would be on the beginning of your death playlist when you're no longer here, what songs, artists would that be?
Can I call it the Death List 5?
Let's hear it. We're good. Let's go.
I don't
Let's
have
go.
one. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Huge Kill Bill fan though.
Oh,
That
yeah.
soundtrack too, bro.
That's another great one. That's sick.
Fuck. But yeah. Like it's like no question. It's easy. I think it would be Sleepwalk, Santo and Johnny.
Does it have to do anything with you loving La Bamba as a movie?
It might, yeah. Just what a song.
Yeah.
Like talk about gut wrenching, like without having lyrics. Yeah, it's nuts. I think that would be at the top.
And what a great song. Which side note, before we came up with the name My Grito, Rob threw in the name Sleepwalkers as a possible.
Interesting.
Now we didn't go that direction. Eventually we landed on My Grito because of what we felt the name represented. But also personal shout out. I know there is an incredible band that does a little bit of salsa, cumbia, a little rockabilly, called the Sleepwalkers out of San Diego, and they themselves are another great band that's out there. But they're self-titled the Sleepwalkers as a band.
Wow.
So great band too. If you haven't had a chance, check them out.
Sure.
But with that song, absolutely. I got to tell you.
Is that on yours? Was it on yours?
It is down there because of it is because of La Bamba too. But I struggle with it because I'm worried as I'm being put under and that song is playing, instead of people screaming Oscar, they're going to be screaming Richie, and it takes away from my shine. Why am I going to ruin my moment by somebody else screaming Richie when it should have been my name, right?
Don't let it end. Never let it end.
So
That'd be a jerk thing to do if you were like spinning it.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the end and you change it to the next song. Next.
Something to think about as we find ourselves spinning all over LA and the OC.
Yeah.
No, that's a real good rola, Adrian.
Yeah.
The last question I'm going to ask you about your legacy, the legacy that you want to leave behind. And when I ask you this question, Adrian, what I want you to do is not only think about this question, your answer, as how you want to be remembered when you are no longer physically here, when you are dead, and people start talking about you as a person. I don't want you to only think about this question as a musician, but I also want you to, going back to my earlier comment, as a person, as an individual. Adrian, how do you want people to remember you when that time comes and you're no longer here? What do you want people to say about Adrian Carmine and who he was as an individual?
This kind of makes me sad because, hopefully I get to live, to 100 or whatever. But that like everybody you grew up with would be gone. That kind of makes me sad. But
yeah.
And I don't know what the future holds because, si Dios quiere, I may have a kid or two. You never know. But I guess I'll start with a music sense. Like the highest honor would be the phrase, "I do this because of you." Like, can you imagine? Like, I think that would be the highest honor. Like, you stoked a fire in somebody, like hot enough to make them go for it. And, just be fearless about it, which is kind of the same thing in life, I think. like he was a guy who just went for it, and he was fearless. No matter what it is, you know, you could be a barber, construction worker, like an engineer, whatever. Like he did it, I could too. And just that's as simple as I could, you know, keep it. But
I like that.
yeah.
I think that's a genuine reply that from what I've heard thus far from me asking guests that question, that's probably the closest to what my response to that was, which is whether it's for whatever I'm able to do with my Grito Industries or in my financial practice, my insurance business, or just as an individual, I would like to feel, because I believe you and I both have these traits. I know Gil has this trait as well, where we want to be helpful. We want to be there for other people. It's not just about us selfishly. It's about what can we do for other people. Adrian, I can obviously point that out by you having the privilege, first of all, but also the honor of again performing with Joe Baton and Trish Toledo. This is not Adrian Carmine that's on the marquee. This is their names, but you selfishly doing this for them, helping them out as they are helping you out. I commend you for that, because if you help enough people get what they want, help them out with their dreams, it can possibly help you out with your own dreams. And for me, my reply to it, which Gil's heard it a couple times, one of the ways that I would like to be remembered is because of whatever efforts or influence that I had, that somebody out there did not give up in their dreams, because I was able to give them enough encouragement that really made a difference. There's a difference between us just having a conversation casually and he said a couple good points and you move on. There's a difference between that and really having that nice, meaningful conversation that made an impact in that person's life enough to either stay on track, to ponerle más ganas, to put more effort into what they're doing, because of what my advice, what my sentiments were, that it helped them get there. Because many times when I have conversations with people that I care about, I remind them that, you know, we can't really control sometimes the results, but you can always control your effort. And as long as your efforts are there and you're consistent, you're going to get closer to whatever that dream is. And I'm hoping that I made enough impact in people. And that's practically, for me, what I heard about you, what I heard from your reply, that you're out there trying to do the same thing, not only for other people, but obviously we would want the same thing for you, because you are a genuine person that has a lot of love and has the talent to back it up. So I'm hoping that as you gave us the answer to your last question, that people really take the opportunity to not only give you a follow on social media, not only to listen to your music on Apple Music, on Spotify, on all these other outlets, not only to pick up your album, whether it's from you in person at a show or from mygrito.net, that they take the opportunity to support such a genuine artist that has already made a nice impact in this music industry in your own right, but you're not even near close what you're supposed to reach, because there's a lot more for you. And as you're helping out all these other people, I think these people are also not going to forget that, and they'll respect you for your effort, your heart, and your talent, and you'll get there. And whatever we can do to help you out with that, we're absolutely gonna offer that to you, Adrian, because you're just a good guy.
Thank you, brother. Without a doubt, 100. You made me come up with a slogan, if I may share it, just right now. If life, because what's the alternative?
Patent pending.
Mic drop. Thank you, brother.
No, absolutely.
Yes,
so
sir.
why don't I do this? I'm going to go ahead and end the show. Again, thank you, Adrian, for doing this interview. As always, Gil, thank you for producing the show. I really greatly appreciate it. We're going to do things a little bit different today. So I still want to end this show by talking about some type of advice, some financial advice, as I do have my own insurance practice. And for anybody that is listening to this interview, if they are ever interested in getting some more advice about retirement planning, about finance, about investments, about life insurance, they can always simply go to my personal page on Instagram, or they can email me direct, or they can give me a call. My information is out there. Even if they simply just Google me, Oscar Toledo, and the word insurance, they'll be able to get my contact information just from doing that alone. So I'm going to give some financial advice, but then we have a very, very special treat for everybody that's listening today. Adrian, you have agreed, which I'm greatly appreciative of this, to perform one of your songs live from the Alma album. As a matter of fact, it happens to be the reason that the album is called Alma. It's your song called Alma.
Yes, that's right.
You're going to be performing that live?
We are breaking new ground here at the My Grito podcast.
There we go. So thank you for playing this song. This is how we're going to end the show. But before that, I'll give everybody a little bit of a piece of financial advice. And I'm going to go back to this one because the importance of it, as Adrian Carmine shared with us during the pandemic, the whole thought about possibly losing his parents, how much fear it brought to him, and how it was an influence for him to write the song "I Miss You." The reality is, as Adrian came up with his own Logan, what's the alternative, right? Life, what's the alternative? The one thing that is inevitable is death. That's something that's going to come to all of us. And one of the things that we can do when we're trying to better protect if there is somebody that we care about, whether it's children or spouse or parents, or maybe even a charity or a church, if you want to, besides your values that you may be sharing with your children, life lessons, things like that, there's also a way where you can financially leave something behind. This is aside from the money that you're probably putting away. If you're fortunate enough to own a home and there's equity within that home, of course, that can help out the next generation. But there's an easy way on how you can give that loved one a significant amount of money, income tax free. And yes, it's life insurance. There's a lot of different types of life insurance that's currently out there, from products such as term insurance, final expense, whole life, index universal life, guaranteed universal life. There's a lot of different life insurance type of options that are out there. And what I encourage you to do, if there is somebody that you care about, that you love about, that really maybe financially relies on you, if you're curious about how much would it cost for you to have your own life insurance policy, give me a call or send me a DM on Instagram, and I'll be more than happy to give you some information and give you a quote with no obligations whatsoever. If you're just curious about how much it would cost for you to have life insurance, I want you to reach out to me or any other individual that you know that might be in the insurance industry and look into that. If you're financially able to pay for life insurance, which is pennies on the dollars, that's something that you should be considering in order to protect your family. So with that, I want to again thank you guys for listening to another episode of the My Grito podcast. Again, like I mentioned, we're going to end this episode by having Adrian perform live here in my hot ass garage, Alma. But I want to remind you that this is Oscar and this is My Grito. Adrian.
I gotta go pay. Brought together by a storm, baby. Everything was going wrong except you and I. Met one night to see what we were about. No idea that it would turn out to be for life. Two people looking for a guiding light. A friendship blossomed in the darkest night. Glad we found our soul, the one that touched our soul. The inspiration that we give each other, an admiration goes as hard as thunder. Feel we could fly. I know at times that we may have our doubts, but right away we pull each other out to take that dive. And now at times we know we've had our doubts, but then we learn it's only growing wings. Glad we found our soul, the one that touched our soul. I'll never let you go. You're the song to my soul. Tú eres la canción que vive en mi corazón, sin motivo y sin razón. Le cantas a mi alma, the one that touched our soul. I'll never, 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 never let you go.